Today's session is on building destiny. This is session 80. Your destiny is your God-ordained purpose for your existence here in the earth. It's not what you think you're here for, right? What your family thinks you're here for, not what your friends think you're here for, but what God created you for. So it's not what you think just in your mind. It's something that you have asked God, right? And He has revealed to you what your purpose is. And a lot of us are on other paths to somebody else's destiny, right? Because we never asked God what His plans were for us. And some of us have spent 10 plus years going in the wrong direction. Alignment and direction are important for destiny and purpose. Aligning with purpose is crucial for survival and prosperity. You have to be going in the right direction, not just physically, but spiritually and morally as well. When you keep getting distracted, you may find yourself suddenly confused about the direction that you are heading towards, right? And that can be the cause of your lack of insight. God is waiting for you to realign before you place your drive, before you place your motivation, your persistence in the wrong direction for the wrong destination, right? He doesn't want you placing that drive that you have in the wrong place. So where you feel you lack motivation, it's not that you lack motivation, it's just that you are motivated in the wrong direction. And when you're going backwards, away from your destiny, or going in circles, your motivation has been misplaced, right? And it's driving you to fail, it's driving you to stay in bondage, it's driving you to remain hopeless and caged. And that's the intention of misplaced motivators, right? Misplaced motivators will not only have you going in the wrong direction, it will also tear down what you have already built and leave it in ruins. Okay. When your motivations are in the right direction, then you begin to build your destiny, right? So we must first agree with God's plan for our life. We can't just say, oh, I'm not getting any direction. Well, you haven't agreed to the plan yet. You haven't said yes yet, right? We have to ask Him, consider Him in whatever plans that we are working towards. And some of us disagree that we can do what we were created to do, right? So we're struggling doing something that is beneath what we were created for. And that's the source of many anxieties, right? Because you are in a place that is too small for you. When you accept another way, another destiny, or another power source, your life will show the penalty of that. And we call these penalties curses, right? Which is simply disobedience or opposing God's way. When you do not go the right way, or you know, do the opposite thing that He says do, then your life will show the penalty for that, right? And oftentimes these penalties remain generation after generation because we teach our children and they teach their children how to not be what they should be, right? So if I'm not going to be what I'm created for, by my actions and my mindsets, that is pushed upon my children. And then they push it upon their children until someone breaks that cycle. And some of you may be the person that broke that cycle. So you'll find that some children will have those same fears, those same setbacks, that same mentality as the people before them, right? But hopefully, if you are a leader in your community, whether it's recognized or not, you are speaking life, and especially into the children, because you can help build and shape their destinies. And that's why teachers, pastors, mentors, and other leaders are important this day and age, right? They are important because they can shape the future of other people. So you can end up tearing up your own destiny, right? When you have the wrong mindset. And these wrong mindsets block you from building what you were created to have. Anybody or anything, it doesn't have to be a person, right? Anybody and anything that blocks you is a destiny blocker. So we often get off course and become sidetracked, right, from our destiny. Maybe we were traumatized. Maybe we've been broken down by life. We've had a bunch of horrible experiences, right? And we fail to keep those destiny appointments and create those destiny alignments, right? These meetings with destiny is for an appointed time. The vision is for an appointed time, meaning at some point that door will close. Sometimes that door is open a long time, 5, 10 years, right? And sometimes it's only, you only have 5 minutes. You only have a couple of seconds, right? To meet that destiny helper. And a lot of times you might pass it up, right? So if you see somebody constantly, like 3 or 4 times randomly, the same person, you're put in the same situation, that could be a destiny appointment. And so it's important to find your destiny helpers in life so that you stop wasting time with destiny blockers, right? Some of you miss those appointments because you're too busy spending time with the destiny blockers. And that's why compatibility is important. Is something or someone working for you, or are they working against you? Are they compatible with you? Right? Compatibility is a state in which two things are able to exist or occur together without problems or conflicts. And I said before, you will have disagreements, but you can make compromises for those. But if you're constantly having problems and conflict, somebody's a destiny blocker, right? If you are compatible, that means you can exist together successfully. If your friendships, your relationships, your family unit, and career paths are not successfully existing, there's some destiny blocking going on. Okay. When your destiny aligns with the right people, it is built up. When your destiny aligns with the wrong people, it gets destroyed. So there is a desire to be approved, accepted, and recognized as valid. And there's the fact that you already are recognized as valid in the circles that you are supposed to be in, right? Some of you have been searching for acceptance from those that are not your equal, right? They're not a part of your destiny plan. They're not equal in their values, their integrity, their moral compass. And you're also running from those who are equal to you, right? Because you don't feel qualified. But constantly minimizing and belittling yourself and settling to fit below God's standard for you will keep you feeling like you don't belong. It will keep you feeling like you're a mistake, that you're worthless, that no one cares, that no one loves you, because you're in a place that is beneath where you should be. And you have accepted these thoughts and feelings from people that are not equal to you. You're taking on their opinions and valuing their opinions, and they're not even equal to you, right? So you have to stop consenting and approving those thoughts and approving those opinions, right? Those words that have been repeated in your mind about you won't be able to do this and you'll never be able to do that, right? They could be repeated from your family and your fake circle of friends, right? But it's not a circle, it's a hole that you continue to fall in, that you have to reject and find where you are supposed to be. So you have to stop valuing opinions over the truth. Understand what is an opinion and what is a fact, right? Because opinions can alter your perspective, which alters certain positive characteristics that you were created with to fulfill your destiny. And there's a lot of things that shut that down. Different experiences we have in life will erase or seem to erase those positive characteristics that were created in us in order to fulfill our purpose, right? And so you have people who see you moving forward and will intentionally derail you or make you place your destiny on hold. And most of the time, those are the people that have no clue what their destiny is, or they do, but they have fear. You know, somebody may have told them that they will never be this, that they will never do that, right? So even when you are helping people, when it puts you out of time or money or whatever resource, those things can be replaced, right? God can redeem the time that you lost and do something, with supernatural speed. But when it forces you outside of your purpose, you may not get there again. There's always that appointed time in your destiny that isn't guaranteed to repeat itself or come back around in that same measure. So it might come back around, but it's minimized now, right? Because you didn't take advantage of it the first time. So you missing that appointed time can cost you. If you have failed in the past at some things, but you recognize your mistake, learn from it instead of letting it stop you from building. You can turn a loss or a mistake into a win, right? This is not a permanent state. So don't allow failure to become a mindset that you adopt or allow to influence your destiny, okay? Any constant perspective or constant way of thinking will turn into a mindset, right? And so I want to tell you to take the grieving process off of your destiny. You're grieving something that is not over. If you are still here, that means you still have a chance to redirect yourself to be realigned on the path that you should go. So when you begin changing your circle, changing the people that you hang around, changing your mindset, you might need to grieve those people. You might need to grieve certain places, certain ideas, right? And when you grieve certain relationships that have been hindering you, certain places that have been hindering you, including places that are not physical places, right? But certain emotions, memories, and mindsets, you want to acknowledge the loss, right? Acknowledge the loss. Acknowledge your feelings associated with the loss, right? Feelings like anger, fear, sadness, frustration, hopelessness, distress, anguish, right? And find healthy ways to allow those feelings to be resolved, along with accepting some of the feelings that won't go away, right? You'll miss certain moments and feelings, right? You'll miss the love, the care, the admiration, and support. Those are feelings that may not go away. So you have to allow yourself to resolve these things. That is the grief process, right? Also, discover and adjust to your life with that absence. If you fail to see your life prospering or you fail to see a future, you will remain stuck in that moment. And although years may pass, you never evolve, you never prosper, and you never get to fulfill your destiny because you might be stuck in the grieving process of grieving people, places, ideas, right? Another thing, eliminate fear. That's one of the biggest things I think that stops people from moving forward in their destiny. Fear is such a cage. Fear will begin to control your soul, okay? Your negative emotions should never have that much power to control your soul, right? Your spirit should be in control of your soul and your body. When fear is in control, it creates panic, right? And you become desperate to avoid the people, places, and things that triggers those fears, even at the expense of your health, your safety, and your peace. Okay? Some of those fears you've actually made bigger than your belief. And sometimes we find more comfort in fear, right, than confidence in the Lord. We get comfortable with being afraid because fear itself make us afraid to confront it, right? To have confidence in the Lord, we have to exchange that fear for power, love, and a sound mind. It's an exchange. You can't have both, right? So if you have the fear, you're losing some power, right? You're losing some love, and it's messing with your mind, right? So you have to exchange that fear for power, love, and soundness of mind. And we trust our fears more than we trust who God said we should be and what he said we should do. So what happens when what you fear becomes greater than what you have believed, right? What you fear, you now become oppressed by, right? This thing now is ruling and directing your life. Your fear determines what you do, right? Your thoughts, your feelings, your attitude, your perspectives, your actions, your relationships, and your destiny. This is what fear is controlling. Okay, so whatever you are obsessed with, you become oppressed by. Whatever you are obsessed with, if you are obsessed with fear, if you are obsessed with anxiety and depression, and or even people, you're obsessed with people, you're obsessed with blaming people, right? You'll become oppressed by that very thing. If you are more obsessed with who you fear, the circumstance you fear, the places you fear, the thing you fear, you become oppressed by those things. Fear will also cause you to make vows that block your destiny. You will never go certain places. You won't try certain things or speak to certain people groups because of fear. And you make a vow to, I'm never going there. I would never be there. I could never be in that place. That is you making a vow to not be in one of those places you probably were supposed to be in, right? Fear is a formidable opponent to your destiny and your peace, and it takes your power, right? Lack of accountability can also cage your destiny, right? You let what someone did and what they said control your thoughts, control your self-esteem, right? You let what they did make you miss your destiny appointments, make you miss your destiny helpers, right? And rerouted your happiness. Lack of accountability. Nobody is in control of your life. That's the truth. If you are an adult, nobody is in control of your life, right? No more lies. Stop lying to yourself. Okay? Process your traumas in a healthy way and be responsible for if you allow it to enslave you, to remake you, or to pull you down. You can control the outcome. Our challenge with determining even the people that are assigned to us is that people are a mixture of good and bad. They're not all bad, right? Even the bad people have some good parts. They may be a good person, but they aren't good for you, right? So somebody can be good and not be compatible with you. You have a great job, but the bad side is it's not for you, right? There may be good qualities in your family, but the bad qualities in your family can make you miss your destiny appointments, right? And so that can sometimes be a challenge with determining who is called to you or not, who you are assigned to, right? Because people are a mixture of good and bad. And sometimes it's not even the other people, right? Sometimes it's you self-sabotaging yourself, speaking death over yourself, speaking death over your destiny. And when people done all they could do to discourage and dismantle their own destiny, they begin to dismantle other people's destinies as well, right? You don't know how many times what you are saying may be driving somebody away from their destiny. And I find that people who are going in the right direction, they want other people to go in the right direction. People that have failed and have continuously failed and refuse to move forward, they want people to be stopped and stagnated with them, right? Because the minute you start going forward, they start reminding you of things to make you come back down to where they are. You also have to learn how to manage your vulnerabilities. If you are not vulnerable at all, identify your weaknesses, find them because they're there. We all have weaknesses, right? When you ignore your weaknesses, they become tools that the enemy uses to shame you into remaining stagnant. Okay? Be watchful of negative emotions. Negative emotions will use your previous embarrassment to shame you out of your destiny. Be mindful of these things. Be aware, right? And when you find your weakness, then find those who exhibit strength in those areas, submit to them, learn from them, and grow. Stop hating on people who are better at certain things, right? Stop being envious and vengeful. When you work on your weaknesses, they can become strengths, right? And if it's just something you're not called to do, stop stressing yourself out trying to live somebody else's destiny, right? You're great in what you were created for. So you may suck at the stuff that you're calling yourself to, but the thing that you were created for, you're great at it, right? So if you're dealing with a situation where you just can't get it, you tried everything, right? Maybe it's time to ask yourself, is this your lane? Is this what your purpose is? Okay? And so we all have to be vulnerable. We have to expose our true selves. Otherwise, what people are accepting is fake, right? You need to know who is really for you, or you will continue living in a world full of false identities where you turn into whatever they want you to be. Okay? There's a whole lot of that going on. And that is exhausting. And it will not bring you peace. You cannot be whole with 12 different characters living your life for you, right? Build some strong bonds and kick out those other personalities, because they're the ones that help you keep those doors closed, right? Because they don't want to be exposed. It's time for those alternative characters and personalities to die so that the real you can live, right? If you cannot see or hear properly because you've opened the door to bad influences, you will never know where to be, right? And every open door is not for you. Some of those open doors will sabotage your chances to meet your destiny helpers, therefore halting your pursuit to being great in your purpose. Just because a door flies open, ask, is this the door? Is this my door? Right? Because every open door may not be for you. How can we say, right? How can we say that we believe in God, but we don't believe in what he created us to do? We don't believe he is powerful enough to put in us what is needed to sustain us as we live out our purpose. And we often think of only the spiritual side and don't realize that he physically, mentally, emotionally set us up to prosper as well, right? He created your mind, your body, and your soul, which should be submitted to your spirit, right? Which should be submitted to his spirit, okay? But what we end up doing is using our willpower to drive our body, but not our mind, right? Or drive the mind, but not the spirit. And all of the different parts of us, right? Our willpower should cause every one of those parts to do the will of God, to do what he purposed and designed it to do. And so remember, when we go against God, there is a penalty for that. A lot of times people say, oh, how can God allow this? He doesn't allow anything. It's because of what we decide to do or not do, right? He says, if you do this, you will be blessed. If you do this, you will be cursed, right? Whenever there is an imbalance in that process, it will throw off your destiny. And it doesn't just affect you mentally or spiritually or emotionally. It affects you physically, financially, economically, right? You will see it affect all areas until it is back in balance, back in alignment, right? Realign yourself back to the master's plan. Change your mindset. Your mindset needs to be, if I'm wrong, I need to change my thoughts so that my feelings can change, so that my actions can change, right? But some of us have been broken for 2 years, sad for 5 years, angry for 10, anxious for 13, jealous for 20. Why? Why won't you change your mind? How many storms have come to your door because you won't give it up, right? So now you're too invested in the feeling, right? You've lost friends, you've lost destiny helpers, you've lost yourself, right? You've chosen to lose everything except the feeling that has been keeping you caged up. And these feelings, which should be red flags for you, can create strongholds that take a storm to set you free from that barricade that you have created. You've been locked into this one mindset, and it is caging your destiny. Or maybe that mindset was locked into your family line and no one wants to let it go. No one wants to understand or ask the question, why are we all like this? Right? Why does everybody die prematurely? Why do people keep ending up in prison? Why are so many of the women are having babies out of wedlock? Why are there so many barren? Right? Somebody should grasp an understanding so that they can change their mindset so that those storms can cease. So those curses can be broken. Right? Sometimes we never get to where we should be because our mind to build constantly changes according to our moods and our feelings, according to people's opinions, right? According to our fears, according to everything except our innate drive within, right? The natural drive that you were born with draws you, pulls you towards your destiny, right? Everything else attempts to pull you away. Like I said, you'll see it coming up in your face multiple times throughout your life, right? And it's up to you to say, yes, I agree, and then go the direction of your destiny, right? You have a predetermined destination, the place that you were created to find, establish, and cultivate. This place should prepare the generations after you to succeed. Oftentimes, our experiences overrule our natural desire to fulfill our created purpose. Pain is an occurrence in every one of our lives, right? That can overrule that innate desire to push forward. And some people are fueled by pain, other people are stopped by pain, right? Some people spend so much time trying to measure pain instead of processing the pain. They're trying to see and compare, oh, you went through this, so this hurt me more, that hurt you more. They're trying to measure the pain instead of process it. You want to measure it against what you feel you deserve or didn't deserve, right? You want to measure it against how somebody else experienced it, okay? Pain is a consequence of living in an imperfect temporal world. You cannot measure it. You can only feel it. Stop trying to measure pain. Why? Because everyone's pain tolerance is different, right? And this isn't just true physically, this is true emotionally as well. My 10 may be your 2, right? What I feel is a 10, you may feel is a 2. What I feel is a 2 may kill you, right? Everyone's pain tolerance is different. Stop wasting time measuring your pain. Oh, I didn't deserve this. So you stuck in the I didn't deserve this so long that you don't even process through it so that you can get back going forward in the direction of your destiny. Some people let pain stop them, right? Other people are fueled by it. The things you experience, the changes in relationships, your career, changes in location, should not cause you to stop building. It should instantly cause you to see the detour or take the other route so that you do not stop, right? Because there's a drive within you that pushes you towards your destiny. And so you may need to factor these arrangements into your mental map, right? Because it could slightly change your direction for a little bit, right? You might have to take a detour for a little bit, right? You might have to create smaller goals because of a specific event that happened unexpectedly. You might have to rearrange some things because you've had to exit some friendships, right? You can end a toxic relationship without stopping your progress, right? You can go through an event in your life without derailing your purpose. You might just have to take the side streets, right? You can go through changes in moods without sabotaging your destiny. Keep the end in mind. Not only seeing where you are now, right? See the big picture. Because when you fail to see the bigger picture, then you may start to create the problems, right? When your sight or your perspective becomes blurred or it becomes influenced in a negative way, then you can start creating the barriers that block your forward movement to build your destiny. Okay. Here's a disclaimer. You are not a victim in the problems you have created. You are not a victim in the problems that you have created. You are a recipient of your own consequences, right? So stop gaslighting people into feeling sorry for you. You are not a victim in the problems you have created, okay? Progress is growth in the direction of your destiny, okay? Success is growth in the direction of your destiny, not growth in the direction of someone else's destiny, right? Or someone else's desire for your destiny, right? Are your goals lining up with God's promise for you? Or are you selling yourself short because you don't see yourself qualified for where God wants you to be? Or are your goals putting you in a position to make yourself a God, right? And you equate progress with wealth and influence, right? You may get to the wealth and influence and a destiny that don't belong to you, but you'll end up losing it at the end, right? You either lose it or you'll lose your soul, right? So I want you to understand the things that cage your destiny, your words, right? Your fears cage your destiny. Your opinion, that's not a fact. Other people's opinion, right? That you put above the facts. Going in the wrong direction. Lack of accountability and compatibility. Not knowing your value will cage your destiny because you're stay beneath where you should be. Challenges that you don't see as opportunities, right? Not addressing your weaknesses will cage your destiny, okay? Living life as a character or a shell of your true self. Living somebody else's destiny, right, will cage your destiny. Where you place your faith, when you're placing your faith in fear, placing your faith in other things that has nothing to do with your destiny. Unprocessed, misunderstood storms of life, right? Those challenges and those storms should create new opportunities for you, should be something that you can learn from, right? Pain can cage your destiny, right? What else? What has been caging your destiny? What is stopping you from building, from moving forward? All of these things that we talked about today, if you saw them as a cage, take the keys you were given and unlock the door. Come on out. Now let's build. Let's go forward in what was written about you before you were born. You are a history maker. You will influence generations. You will build and shape great futures. Whatever is caging your destiny, it could be the things we discussed here or things that came to your mind. If it came to your mind, you have the key that you can come out of that cage now because you know what it is. And you can start progressing towards the direction of your destiny. So I hope everything that was spoken today gave you insight and gave you excitement to finally get the courage and the strength. You already have the ability. You're already equipped, right? to be what you were created to be, but to put it here, right? To put it on your mind that it's possible that I'm not living the life that was written about me. Okay, God, how do I begin to live this life that you already predestined for me? I just had to walk it out, right? Hopefully that causes you to ask questions to the right being, right? Because sometimes we can ask everybody else, but we refuse to ask the one that wrote it, right? He is the author and finisher. And so if we call him Lord, then he should be Lord, right? You when you go on your job, you ask your boss, or it is understood, or you sign off on what your duties are, right? Let's do the same thing with our creator. Okay, what is it? What is it you call me to do? I'm up. What do I need to start on? Where do I need to go? Who do I need to speak to? We do it for man, right? Who has not written our destiny, but we won't do it to the being that has created our destiny. And the path that he chose, we won't fail on that path, right? I'll see y'all next Friday at 3 o'clock. Y'all be blessed and have a safe weekend.